Hi guys and welcome to my kitchen. If you are new here, my name is Eya and today I will be sharing with you a special recipe from Tunisia called Makarouna. It's basically a pasta dish with a thick sauce which is full of flavors. This recipe is so easy but a bit tricky, so please follow all the steps to make sure you will have a successful dish. Today's recipe is with chicken, and my first advice is to use bone-in skinless chicken legs. You can use only thighs or only drumsticks or mix both. This is really up to you, but do not use chicken breast. It will be very dry. Once the chicken is clean and ready to use, I added the spices. Here I used ground black pepper, salt, paprika. You can also use smoked paprika if you prefer, and finally turmeric. All the ingredients and exact measurement will be listed down below the video in the description box. Once I added the spices mixture, I make sure to rub it all over the chicken so it gets all the flavors before we start cooking it. At this point, I cover the chicken with plastic wrap and put it back in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Please do not keep the chicken at room temperature because you could set yourself up for a foodborne illness. Put a large pot over medium-low heat and let it heat up a little bit before adding the oil. My advice is to always let the pot heat up for a few minutes before adding the oil. This will help the oil not to burn. Once the pot is hot, I added the oil. I used two types of oil. The first one is the classic olive oil, not the extra virgin one. The classic olive oil is best for cooking. The second oil is vegetable oil. This will help the olive oil to not overheat. You can also use coconut oil instead. Now it's time to add tomato paste. As you can see, I used a regular spoon to measure the tomato paste. It is a bit less than 4 tablespoons, but you will also find all the details in grams in the description box. Stir for a few minutes. Make sure the stove is not too hot, somewhere between medium low and low, but you really need to keep an eye on it. Pro tip: you must fry the tomato paste to avoid a bitter taste in the sauce, but don't let it burn out. Please do not reduce the amount of oil. I know it seems a lot, but this is important for this recipe. Once the tomato paste changed color, I added harissa. Try to use a harissa made with smoked pepper. It will taste even better. I will link the one I like to use for cooking. However, I am not really sure if they ship it worldwide or just to the US. And if they don't, then I suggest that you look for homemade style one, not the one that you guys buy in the yellow tube. That one is more like a spread we use most of the time for sandwiches or maybe to eat with some bread and olive oil, but is not the one that I use for cooking. At this point, I got the chicken out of the fridge and added to the pot. I covered and let it simmer for a couple minutes. Allow the chicken to turn lightly brown on each side. Check the bottom of the pot one more time and add the rest of the spices. Here I'm using salt, black pepper, paprika, a mix of coriander and caraway. Then I added 2 or 3 bay leaves and of course chickpeas. I usually buy the dry one from the grocery store and soak it overnight, then freeze it. And every time I need some, I just use the frozen one. I rinse it out and it's good to go. You can use the one in a can, but you will have to add it later on as it's already cooked. And the fresh chopped whole garlic head. This is also important for this recipe. Give it a good stir and then add boiling water, just enough to cover the chicken, and the goal here is to dilute the tomato paste. Here I added some whole garlic cloves, and this is completely optional. I just like it that way. Cover and let it simmer for 30 minutes over medium heat. At this point, the chicken is almost fully cooked. I added 1 potato that I have already cleaned and cut in half. If you're using the chickpeas from the can, you can add it at this point. Cover and let it cook for 10 more minutes. Look at the oil on top of the sauce. That's how you know that the sauce is ready. Just an advice, check everything and make sure that everything is fully cooked. I took one chickpeas to check it and it was perfectly cooked. Now I added a whole clean pepper. You can choose a hot one or a mild pepper. I mean, this is really up to you, but please do not skip this step. All the flavors will come together after you add the pepper. And the sauce is almost ready. Just give it a couple more minutes for the pepper to cook and then it's good. I have boiled 1 pound of pasta in water and salt with some olive oil just to avoid the pasta from sticking. Typically we use this pasta shape for this recipe. It's called ditalini or tubettini, or you can also use another shape. I mean, you don't have to use that one. If you prefer, you can use penne or spaghetti. First, we'll have to mix the sauce with the pasta. So gently remove the chicken, the potatoes, the pepper, and some of the chickpeas from the pot and set aside. In a large pot, mix the pasta into the sauce, then transfer it to the plate and arrange the chicken, the pepper, the potatoes, and some chickpeas on top to make it look nice. You can either serve individual plates or in a big family tipsy, as you can see in the video. And please, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new, to subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video. Bye!